G'day guys, it's Lockie Beresford here from lockieberesford.com. This is the 6th video in my series on mixing Weather the Storm. For all the information on the other videos and their content and links to them, just check out the section below and that'll give you all the information you need. In this one, I'm going to be going through adding reverb and delay, and I'm going to be adding just the very basics of it, but it's still the most important parts, I think, when it comes to reverb and delay. So if you've seen the other ones, you know that I like to just get going without any distractions. So I'm just going to do my mix, add the verb and delay, and then tell you what I did afterwards. So here we go.
So cool, we discover the fall. Help me weather the storm. Cause, notion, fact, think about it, hope, reason, life, getting on it. Cause, notion, fact, cause, notion, fact, think about it, hope, reason, life, getting on it. Cause, notion, fact, cause, notion, fact, think about it, hope, reason, life, getting on it. Cause, notion, fact, cause, notion, fact, think about it, hope, reason, life, getting on it. Cause, notion, fact, cause, notion, fact, think about it, hope, reason, life, getting on it. Cause, notion, fact, cause, notion, fact, think about it, hope, reason, life, getting on it. Cause, notion, fact, cause, notion, fact, think about it, hope, reason, life, getting on it. Cause, notion, fact, cause, notion, fact, think about it, hope, reason, life, getting on it. Cause, notion, fact, cause, notion, fact, think about it, hope, reason, life, getting on it. so cruel, rediscover the fall. Help me weather the storm. Always saved if we ride that way with the history that we're making. In this rain so cruel, rediscover the fall. Decision, I'm feeling fine. Make a decision. I'm feeling fine. Always saved if we ride that way with the history that we're making. In this rain so cruel, rediscover the fall. Weather the storm. Decision, I'm feeling fine. In the show, decision, I'm feeling fine. 'Cause cause, notion, fact, think about it, hope, reason, life, getting on it, cause, notion, fact, think about it, hope, reason, cause, notion, fact, think about it, hope, reason, life, getting on it, cause, notion, fact, think about it, hope, reason, cause, notion, fact, think about it, hope, reason, life, getting on it, cause, notion, fact, think about it, hope, reason, cause, notion, fact, think about it, hope, reason, life, getting on it, cause, notion, fact, think about it, hope, reason, cause, notion, fact, think about it, hope, reason, life, getting on it, cause, notion, fact, think about it, hope, reason, cause, notion, fact, think about it, hope, reason, life, getting on it, cause, notion, fact, think about it, hope, reason, cause, notion, fact, decision. So blue, so the floor.
Alright, so I'm just going to leave it there. As you can tell, I didn't do anything too drastic towards the end, even A-Bing between the completely unaffected tracks and seeing what I'd done with the reverb and delay afterwards. There's not really that big a difference. You don't get any of those huge swells or anything like that. It's mostly fairly subtle work. And the reason for that is that you don't really want those huge sounds. You want to create a feeling with the reverb, especially. I'll focus on the reverb first and just tell you what I've done there. So as you saw, I just went through each of the presets there until I found one that I thought suited the song a bit more. I didn't mess with any of the pre-delay settings because I don't really like pre-delay. The high filter cuts there, but as you'll see, I addressed that later, and everything else sounded pretty good to me. So, yeah, used a medium plate, which is a fairly standard reverb, and I think you'll find you use that kind of reverb a lot. It's got a natural sound despite it not being a hall or a room, but a effect. I then added an EQ before the delay. Before the reverb. A lot of people will add a EQ afterwards, but I feel like adding the EQ before the effect means that you cut out any of the sounds in the middle frequencies that the highs or the lows might introduce unexpectedly. So I figure get rid of the lows and the highs. I just added a high and low pass filter and brought them in until I thought the reverb sounded pretty nice and didn't have any frequencies that are unwanted. Definitely try that out. I find reverbs add way too much low end and muddiness to a track if un-EQ'd, and the high cut also helps in getting rid of some of that sizzly sound. I did these major changes while listening to the main vocal track, and that's because that was the main sound that I want to reverb on, and didn't want to go with the snare this time. Sometimes in a rock track I'll reference with the snare, but I figured the vocal was the main thing in this track and that deserved the most attention with the reverb. One thing to note is that with this reverb, I wasn't trying to create an effect with it, I was trying to create a space. And you'll hear that in the end. There's no long flowing tails with the reverb. What I've tried to do is make it sound like everything is in a room together, which is the hardest thing to do sometimes with recording, is to get everything to gel. But with a bit of reverb, it usually helps create that space. A lot of the sounds that Jay gave me with the track were already affected with reverb and delay, and I didn't want to add extra reverb and delay because they were already fairly wet. But the vocals was one thing that I could change, and so was the drums. So you saw me just copy the reverb across to each channel of the vocals, and I just put a different amount in for some of them. The main vocal, vocal 1, and verse 3, which becomes the main vocal later on in the track, I pushed the reverb a little bit lower down because the more reverb you add, the further back a sound source seems. So bringing out some of the reverb brings the vocal closer. I wanted a bit in there to give it a sense of space, but I didn't want to push it too far back in the mix. And all of the vocal tracks that I see to be backing or harmonies or anything like that, I put more reverb in. So they're getting pushed further back into the virtual sound space, if you will. And yeah, that's the reason I did that. So that's a good trick. If you want things to sound further away, more distant, add more reverb, and they'll be pushed further back in the mix. The other sounds I added reverb to were the drums. So first up was the kick. First up was the snare, actually. Added a lot of reverb to that. You could hear that come through with quite a bit of mid punch, and that really pushed it back further in the mix and made it sound huge, which is what I was going for there. Same with the kick, but that was a bit lower. A lot of people don't like adding reverb to kick sounds because of all that low end, but if you add the EQ there, it only really adds reverb to the mid frequencies, so that turns out to be all right. And some more reverb to the drum beat, and I really just pushed those levels around until they sounded right to me. Next up, we had the delay, and I used the mod delay. This is the free one that comes with Pro Tools, as is the Deverb reverb unit, which I used. I used these ones again because I wanted you guys to see that you don't have to spend heaps of money on plugins to get a decent sounding mix. You can usually get a great sounding mix with the stock ones that come with it. So with the mod delay, I only used delay on the vocal channels because, as I said before, the guitars and keyboards already had quite a bit of reverb and delay, so they didn't really need this. So I set it to a quarter note on the track. That just sounded the best. Sometimes you'll go to a minim, sometimes down to an eighth note. And yeah, just set the feedback to about 30, so it was getting a little bit of a delay tail there, but not heaps, because I didn't want it dragging on forever. And I pushed the levels for each one of these down really low, so got -10 on most of the vocal ones there, sometimes even a little bit lower. The only one I pushed up was the harmony, which I felt really needed a delay effect to bring out what he was trying to do with the vocal there. But mostly this delay is just a nice little effect that sits in the background. If I was going to automate these tracks, then I'd probably push the delay up towards the end of some of the lines or on important words, but for this exercise I wanted a nice blanket delay that sounded good over the whole track and wasn't too distracting. Finally, I added a reverb send to the delay track so that it smoothed that out just a little bit. And of course, I added the EQ to the delay as well, and actually went a bit more extreme with the EQing on the delay, which gave it almost a telephone sound. And I did that because you don't really need all that low and high end eating up your mix. I just had it pushed to the center a bit, low down, so that you get the sense of where it's at without distracting from the mix too much. Anyway, that's about it for that one. So if you have any questions about what I've done in this mix, or you have any comments, just let me know in the comment section below. Check out the blog, which is going to have a slightly more detailed explanation of everything that I've done here. And I'll see you guys next time. Alright guys, have a good one. Bye.